Alrighty, guys. Good morning to you all here. It is Saturday, June 7th, 2025. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And we've got the threat for a significant severe weather setup both today and tomorrow. Really more in terms of tomorrow. And guess where that's going to be at? Oklahoma and Texas. So if you guys were watching stream last night and really over the last couple of days, it's just been a barrage of severe weather in the plains here. And we're going to continue to see that with tomorrow being probably one of the biggest days of damaging wind and at least I would say tornado potential that we've probably seen in the last couple of days. And we've had a lot of days here in the plains with strong tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. And tomorrow definitely makes these other days kind of look a little bit smaller on a scale than what we could or what we have been seeing. So we're going to break down today. We're going to break down tomorrow and break down Monday. I will say as well, we are going to see lesser overall significant severe weather days, especially as we go towards next week here. Today and tomorrow will probably be our biggest days so far, really at least going into the month here. And we've, like I said, had a lot of severe weather days so far this month here, and we are only 7 days in. But I need my Oklahoma, my Texas people to listen up specifically, especially when we talk about tomorrow. We will be in live coverage mode very, very early tomorrow. Like I said, there will not be any live weather coverage today. We've got friends and family coming into town here this morning, so I'll have this video out to you guys, and then tomorrow we'll be rolling wall-to-wall coverage across the whole entire viewing area for tomorrow. So listen up, guys. We're going to have a pretty interesting day both today and tomorrow. Be safe out there. Know where to go when you get weather alerts, as always, and we'll go ahead and dive into this forecast here, and we'll start out by talking about what's going on right now here in the plains here. And you guys can see we've got a complex of showers and storms, severe weather ongoing into portions of western Tennessee and Arkansas right now. There is a tornado watch out for Arkansas right now where this MCS is moving through. This is what went through eastern Oklahoma last night. We did have a couple of tornado warnings last night in OKC and north of that here, but we ended up seeing more damaging winds than anything else out of that complex that moved through as expected. But we've got a complex here moving through this main event here, the circled area that I've got. This is what's going to be our main event for today. This will continue to work its way through Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and even into the Carolinas by later on tonight. Damaging winds are going to be our primary threat. Really not looking at too big of a tornado risk today. That will upgrade tomorrow. We could actually have the threat for strong to potentially even intense tornadoes tomorrow, and we'll kind of talk about that forecast here in a second. Showers and thunderstorms going along on the northeast here as well. That'll be moving out as well after today. Complex of storms back up here into the higher upper plains here, and a couple showers and storms moving through. So just a lot of these MCS days as we continue to have throughout the summer here. This is something we're going to continue to get accustomed to. So deal with me, guys. As I mentioned yesterday, it's a very complex setup when we get these MCS days. So, like I said, sometimes you'll get storms, sometimes you don't. And sometimes when you get storms, they're pretty nasty out there. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be seeing here with our severe weather forecast today. And we'll start out with today's risk zone where the Storm Prediction Center does have, once again, another level 3 enhanced risk here back into the Tennessee River Valley and back down here into the southeast. A slight risk outside of that there in the yellow and a marginal risk in the green and a small marginal risk back up here into the plains. Now, as I mentioned, today is not going to be too big of a tornado risk day. Today is mostly going to be wind out there as we continue to watch this line of storms work east. Though the tornado risk is not 0, but it is at about a 2% chance as of right now. You got 3 categories here: enhanced, slight, and marginal out of 5. So level 3 out of 5 with this being our highest risk zone today. The major threat today is going to be wind. We do have a 30%, 15%, and 5% risk zones for wind exceeding 60 to 70 miles per hour. There are no hatched regions today, so that is good to keep as well. So we won't be looking at significant severe weather today, but still, regardless, winds out there across the lower Arkansas area into Tennessee, into portions of western North Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama could be rough if these storms continue to pack a punch as they work their way east here. Hail threat will also be at 5 and 15%, hail up to 1 to 2 inches in diameter, and then a small corridor here of 2% tornado potential as we will see isolated storms firing off through the afternoon here and even to the evening hours here. So that is today's forecast. Expect that today, but tomorrow, guys, is a whole new different thing. And I mentioned tomorrow really yesterday and the day before, looking at Sunday. Sunday could be a pretty big day, and Sunday is expected to be a significant day. We will have the threat for strong tornadoes tomorrow. That is EF2 plus, more than likely on the table. Can't be ruled out. We'll also have the threat for winds that could exceed 100 miles per hour tomorrow, guys. A derecho-like potential tomorrow across the state of Oklahoma and Texas there. And we'll also have the threat once again for gigantic hail exceeding 3 inches in diameter, especially in Oklahoma City, back down towards Dallas, Fort Worth, Lubbock, Amarillo. A lot of these areas have been hit back to back to back to back, and it's going to continue to be like that going through tomorrow. I will mention tomorrow looks to be the worst day really going through the next 4 to 5 days here, so that is some good news. If we can get through tomorrow, we'll continue to see the severe threat really lessen over the next couple of days, especially going into next week. Now, I will mention right now we've got 2 areas we're watching for tornado potential tomorrow. We've got the East Coast here where we're still going to be watching this system coming through today, work through tomorrow, and then we're going to have a whole new system set up here. We're going to have a small 2% tornado risk that expands from basically St. Louis, Missouri, back through Kansas City, down and around here into eastern New Mexico, back down to the Dallas, Fort Worth area, and even into Louisiana and Arkansas. And I do want to mention to you guys, we do have a pretty decent 5% chance here of tornadoes. Oklahoma City, Woodward, getting down towards Norman, Wichita Falls, Amarillo, Lubbock, you're in that as well. But I want to mention now, I would not be shocked to see the Storm Prediction Center upgrade to a level 3 enhanced risk with a 10% hatch tornado risk somewhere in the middle of this here. And Oklahoma City will probably be in that there. And what that will mean if they do issue that is that there is the threat for strong EF2 plus tornadoes. Those are your intense, strong tornadoes, and sometimes can be very, very much problematic if they do in fact happen. Regardless of tornadoes, problematic if it happens, regardless of the intensity. But what I'm getting at is tomorrow's ceiling is very high with the MCS day that we could see tomorrow. That's not going to be our only issue, guys. I think the biggest threat for tomorrow is going to be significant winds. We have a huge hatch 30% and 15% wind threat here. Oklahoma City back down into Dallas, Wichita Falls, Lubbock. Winds could exceed, and this is per the National Weather Service wording here, 80 to 100 mile per hour wind gusts tomorrow, guys. Destructive winds. Those are those swaths of, just derecho-like wind gusts that we get. These can cause way worse potential than tornadoes can. And so the fact that we've got a pretty widespread area, Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Arlington, Plano, Norman, you guys are all in that hatched region for 80 to 100 mile an hour plus winds. I think we're going to have a very, very long day in terms of severe weather tomorrow across the central and southern plains. Now, that is not the only threat outside of that there, 15 and 5% for winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour that are not hatched. And then we once again have a huge hatched hail risk that extends all the way from Kansas City back down into Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas here, where we could see hail exceed 3 inches in diameter once again tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a long day. We will be live covering tomorrow very, very early in the afternoon. We'll be on from the start of this event tomorrow to the finish of this event. I have no plans tomorrow. We are making tomorrow a mesomat weather day, I guess is what we'll call it here, where we could see a significant severe weather outbreak if things do happen. And I'm not going to lie when I say this, guys. If things do uptrend, I would not rule out a moderate risk on the table tomorrow being wind or hail driven. Definitely something we need to watch here. So a level 4 moderate risk may be introduced. We'll see what happens with this. There may be just less confidence in that there, but I wouldn't be shocked to see a level 4 moderate risk introduced. But 100% not going to be guaranteed on that. Just kind of something on my thoughts on that. We'll see what SPC does through today and through tomorrow as we get closer to this event happening. But definitely be weather alert tomorrow, guys. We'll be covering this. I want all my Oklahoma and my Texas people ready to go tomorrow, even up into Missouri, Arkansas, as we have the threat for all modes of significant severe weather tomorrow. Now, as we go into Monday, things will start to weaken. We'll continue to watch this system going into Monday here. Pretty big margin of risk here that extends basically from the plains back up in the lower Ohio Valley, the southeast, with a slight risk down here into the southeast. Wouldn't be shocked to see a level 3 enhanced introduced. That's kind of what the SPC Storm Prediction Center has been doing. All modes will be possible, with a wind and hail threat being primary the threats. And then we go through the day 4 through 8 outlook here, and we do not see any severe weather, but the Storm Prediction Center has mentioned small MCS days once again going through next week here. We'll probably have occasional marginal and slight risk zones throughout the plains and up into the Midwest going through early next week. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Now, I do want to talk about what's going to happen with this severe weather threat today. And like I said, today we're going to see the remnants of this line of storms. It'll continue to work its way east. I'll talk about that more here in just a second, but I want to talk about what's going to happen. We have a couple scattered showers that can develop later on this evening here, closer to the overnight hours across Texas, Oklahoma. This is not going to be an issue tonight. We're not going to have to do overnight coverage tonight. We're not going to have an issue, but I want you guys to see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow has a very decently high ceiling. Like I said, strong tornadoes, destructive winds, 80 to 100 miles per hour tomorrow are likely, and then we will have the threat for extremely large hail. And what's going to happen is, believe it or not, Oklahoma, we're actually going to have storms initiate in the afternoon tomorrow. It does not look like it's going to be too much of an overnight event. It looks like storms are going to initiate right around after lunchtime tomorrow. We're going to see a big explosion of supercells right around 3, 4 o'clock, maybe even sooner than that here in southern Kansas and into Oklahoma. And what's going to happen is that cold front's going to come through, and these storms are going to grow upscale very, very significantly. And you guys can see all of these little helicity tracks, these little black squigglies embedded in there. Those are updraft rotations, which do signal tornado genesis, strong damaging winds, extremely large hail. And this is going to pretty much explode pretty quickly into a wall of wind in Dallas, Fort Worth area, back up into, Wichita Falls here, moving into eastern Texas and southeast Kansas. We could be looking at a very significant and life-threatening destructive wind event tomorrow if, in fact, this does materialize. Winds exceeding 80 miles per hour can knock off roofs off of houses, can knock down, it can do a lot of damage in terms of what a tornado can do. So you guys need to be weather aware if you're in these areas tomorrow. This would go through the 11 p.m. to midnight hour and then start to weaken as it gets into Arkansas and Louisiana through the overnight hours. But this looks to initiate right around lunchtime tomorrow, between lunchtime and 3 p.m., and then it just goes full-fledged, destructive wind through the area here. So we'll have to keep you guys updated on that. Here's just some of the parameters for today. We'll have instability out there for today, and then we'll have instability out there for tomorrow. Once again, an extreme amount of instability tomorrow, guys. We could be looking at instability values tomorrow in and around 6,000 joules per kilogram. So extreme amounts of volatile instability tomorrow. We're going to have enough low-level shear as well to keep things going here. Just kind of taking a look at our 850 millibar winds with height, kind of giving us an idea on what tomorrow is going to be. And we will have a pretty decent amount of low-level jet with tomorrow's setup here, giving us the threat for significant potential for tornadoes tomorrow as well. well. Here's an idea of that tornado potential here. You'll see those parameters ramp up potentially anywhere along the Red River this afternoon where we could see some showers and some storms ongoing. And then tomorrow, guys, we do see a pretty decent catty corner here of strong tornado potential, especially south in and around Oklahoma City metro area tomorrow. So we're going to have to watch this very, very closely. Like I said, we'll be doing wall-to-wall coverage for you guys tomorrow. I want to go over here to the southeast and just talk briefly about what's going to happen today for you guys here as well. We'll see that the line of showers and storms continue to work its way east. It does look like it's going to try to weaken, so this may not completely unfold the way the Storm Prediction Center has it today, but just be mindful if you are in risk zones. Really, anything can happen. We are going to have to watch for an isolated wind threat later on this evening back into Kentucky, the lower Ohio River Valley here, but most of this, wind potential that we've got really falls apart before midnight. Excuse me, and then we're going to have showers and storms working through tomorrow morning early, and then another little complex of storms, and then after that, we're really just going to have to be watching Oklahoma and Texas tomorrow. You guys have got to be weather aware for your Sunday tomorrow. If you are in the state of Oklahoma and in Texas, could be a very, very wild day in terms of severe weather. Now, I do want to talk about what we're going to be looking at here in the overall forecast for the next couple of days, and like I said, here's the prime reason on why we're seeing severe weather in the plains. Bulk shear, west to east motion here. We get these westerly flowing winds, allows for strong damaging winds, hail, and even large hail to develop here. That's something we're going to continue to see here really through today, through tomorrow, and into Monday. And when that does push out, we will have another trough that's going to come in here, and this will promote probably a damaging wind event that could be coming out of Canada from the Midwest through the high plains here, something we're going to have to watch going into Sunday and Monday. And then even into early next week, we could see a couple of mesoscale days back here in the lower Ohio River Valley in the Midwest if we have enough instability and enough dew points to allow for that to happen. A little bit of a question on that. And then we do still have a couple troughing, maybe Wednesday getting another strong MCS day here in Oklahoma and Texas. We will have just enough troughing to allow for some severe weather days getting up here into the plains back into the Ozarks here in the Midwest through next Thursday and Friday. And then after that, things do get a little bit uncertain. But I do want to mention one thing. Models are still trying to spit out the scenario of there could be a tropical system going towards the 3rd and 4th week of June. Right now, the GFS model is still the only thing talking about that. So until other models support it, we're not really going to talk about it. There's not much to talk about unless there's more than one model showing it. So when that changes, or if that changes, we'll talk to you guys more about that. But what's going to happen, and I mentioned this in yesterday, really the last two videos, what's going to happen going into the future here is we're going to have a ridge that's going to try to develop, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow our jet stream to shift, and we're going to see that jet stream shift up into the west coast here, up into the high plains, the Midwest, and what's going to happen is we're basically going to have a ridge riding jet stream, and what this will do is it will promote significant severe weather potentially going into the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska, up here towards Montana, Wyoming, and so this will be the area going into week 3 and week 4 of June that we have to watch for severe weather. I do think the plains, the Ohio River Valley down in the southeast will get some kind of sort of a semi-break as that ridge develops, and then after that things become just a little bit more uncertain, but I do think we'll start to kind of get things going again in terms of severe weather. Maybe even hurricane season will get going. So just a lot of things to kind of look out for here in the next couple of days here. We'll keep you guys updated on that. Remember, guys, I will not have weather coverage today. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage tomorrow. Here's the rainfall totals going through the next 7 days here, and you can see where the higher rainfall totals are going to be at. That's going to be their Ohio River Valley back down in the southeast, and even a pretty good chunk of storms here in the plains, giving us some more significant heavy rainfall. So just be mindful of those water levels, guys. Have a way to get alerts on your phones. I'll have a weather update potentially late tonight if we're able to. If not, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, and we'll have full weather coverage for Texas and Oklahoma tomorrow. Get weather aware, guys. Tomorrow could be a wild day. Today could be a pretty decent day for severe weather, but I'm more concerned about tomorrow in terms of Oklahoma and Texas. We'll keep you guys updated. Be safe, be weather aware, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a happy weekend, everyone.